Greetings YouTube, Skill Incarnate bringing you all the latest indie gaming goodness. Welcome back to another look at an early access game. And this time we're having a look at a title called Sparklite for the PlayStation 4 by Red Blue Games. Sparklite is an isometric action RPG, which is a love letter to classic Nintendo games like The Legend of Zelda. Sparklite has an isometric view, simplistic combat and puzzle solving. It also combines mechanics from popular indie survival games such as building, crafting, procedurally generated maps, and an interesting approach to permadeath. As a fan of the Zelda games along with indie survival games, I've been eagerly awaiting the release of Sparklite. This was despite some of the negative feedback I've seen. The title has received some pretty bad reviews on the Steam store, so I was interested to have a look and see why. Sparklite's story takes place in the steampunk world of Geodia. You play the role of Ada, a young inventor and explorer. Your airship is destroyed in a freak storm, and you're forced to abandon your ship and escape. The surface is under the command of the mysterious Baron, a warlord who is seeking to control Geodia. The Baron has control of the Sparklite, a renewable energy source mined from Geodia, which is being used to create powerful robotic soldiers. However, the continuous use of Sparklite has also begun to twist the plants and animals of Geodia into hideous monsters, as well as corrupting the land, making it uninhabitable. The player is rescued from one of the Baron's titans by one of the residents of Geodia and is taken to the Refuge, a floating city which is the last safe haven from the Baron. From there, the player is swept up with the Resistance, assisting them in their effort to protect their home and harnessing the power of Sparklite to create mechanical wonders. The gameplay of Sparklite takes heavy cues from the Zelda games, with the player immediately thrown into the action with only the briefest of introductions. After your initial battle, you'll be introduced to the Refuge, which acts as a central hub from which you can restore your health, deposit your items, and stock up on equipment for your next visit to the surface. You can also speak with the residents of the Refuge to gather information about the world of Geodia, along with being assigned quests. You descend to the surface to explore a variety of unique locations which are procedurally generated, destroying enemies and collecting raw materials along with the Sparklite itself. The player will also explore underground dungeons called the Vaults, which are very dangerous but are full of hidden items to find, along with puzzles to solve. In addition to the RPG, puzzle and exploration mechanics, Sparklite injects several roguelike elements to the game. Crafting is a central element in Sparklite, as all of your equipment must be crafted using the resources found in your adventures. Fortunately, Ada is a talented inventor and engineer, and can create new tools, weapons and armor, which can be upgraded further by using the Sparklite you find in your travels. The player can also find rare artifacts across Geodia, which can be disassembled to create blueprints for more complex creations. Additionally, Sparklite also features building mechanics by allowing the player to create new structures at the Refuge, including workbenches, laboratories and medical bays. The buildings can be used to unlock further upgrades, encouraging the player to explore Geodia for more resources. The game handles permadeath in an interesting way. When the player falls in battle, they will lose all of the resources they have collected in their adventures. They will get to keep the Sparklite, and the surface world will radically shift, providing a new challenge. The player can use their accumulated Sparklite to upgrade Ada, thus making their next run far easier. This is an interesting mechanic and does help to alleviate a lot of the frustration that players experience when suffering a defeat in a roguelike game. The player can keep some of their upgrades between runs, and this is a feature you will use a lot in Sparklite, as it can be a challenging game. Unfortunately, it is challenging not for the reasons I was hoping. The enemies and bosses are hard, but this was more due to their extremely high health, as their attack patterns were predictable and battles felt overly long. Combat also felt overly simple, with only a limited range of weapons with a light and heavy attack, and some ranged weapons like the crossbow, along with some tools. Some of your weapons, such as the crossbow, felt underpowered, doing far too little damage despite having limited ammunition. The game sorely needs some more variety in your arsenal. Sparklite also suffers from problems common to many RPG games. A requirement for the player to grind for more loot. Now, this isn't a problem in the early game, with the player able to regularly upgrade their character, but later game it can take hours to gather the resources for a single upgrade. I spent significant amounts of time gathering money and Sparklite so I could upgrade Ada in preparation for the next boss. Upgrades are also extremely generic in the form of passive abilities such as increasing the player's health and energy instead of providing additional skills, abilities and attacks. In fact, I'm surprised the developers missed this opportunity given their inspiration from the Zelda games, which all had iconic weapons and abilities. So what are my final thoughts regarding this game? Sparklite is a title that combines the mechanics of retro titles from the Nintendo era, alongside survival and roguelike features. However, I felt it was let down by some balance issues, excessive grinding, and a narrow range of upgrades and skills. The developers have been seeking feedback from the community and are responding, which is a good sign. But I felt this game should have spent more time in development. However, despite these issues, I did find myself enjoying my time in Geodia thanks to the colourful pixel graphics and the retro soundtrack. So I would recommend it to fans of roguelike games and players who enjoyed titles from the Nintendo era. Just know going in that this game does have some issues, and be prepared for a lot of grinding. Sparklite is currently available on Steam and PlayStation for $30. So if you are going to pick this one up, my advice would be to wait until it's on sale. That was it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video, and you'll join me next time when I look at another indie game. Until next time, Skill Incarnate out.